There's something worse than being betrayed, and that's not knowing it. Still kissing lips that just kiss someone else. Still believing that woman is yours when she no longer is. Because a man get cheated on once and others get cheated on every night without ever realizing it. A woman doesn't always leave you. Sometimes she walks away insolent with a clean body, a fake smile, but a mind full of someone else. And if you don't know the signs, you become the quiet accomplice of your own humiliation. Today, I'm going to reveal the 8 signs that give away when your woman has just been intimate outside their relationship. 8 clues that most men ignore, but a man who's awake can read with surgical precision. The last one is most obvious, the one you can't hide, but few have the courage to face it. I'm Celia, and I'm not here to soften your fall. I'm here to make sure you never kneel again for a woman. Holready gave herself to someone else. Stay until the end, because if you don't see everything, you'll keep looking at her without truly seeing her. Have you ever felt that she's by your side but not really with you? That she shares your bed but not your desire? That she kisses your cheek but not with her soul? That vague, almost imperceptible feeling that something has changed, but you can't quite put your finger on it. It's not paranoia, it's male intuition. And if you ignore it, you'll become the man sleeping next to a woman satisfied by someone else without knowing it. We read the first point of this video, and it's the hardest one to accept. The silence after contact, silence after contact when her body no longer reaches for you. There's a language that isn't spoken with words, but with skin, with rhythm, with desire. And when that language has been fueled by another man, it goes silent with you. Because a woman who just gave herself away isn't always guilty. Sometimes it's just satisfied, relaxed, like Simeon, who's eaten after a long fast. But you're not the meal. You're just Theon, who showed up late to a dinner that's already over. Picture this. You come home after a long day full of doubts, hoping to reconnect. You see herthere.com. She smiles at you, but there's no fire in her eyes, no tension in her body. You suggest touching her, kissing her, holding her, and she says no, that she's tired. That she's not in the mood, but it's not physical exhaustion, it's someone else's fullness. It's desire already resolved in another bed with a different rhythm, a different scent. She won't say it. She'll never will, because a woman doesn't need to confess her betrayal when she can excuse it with something that sounds reasonable. But her body that never leaves, that doesn't ignite twice in Thesum Day with the same intensity. And if someone else already lit the flame with you, it stays cold, absent, or worse. It offers you a lukewarm mechanical touch, soulless, like someone fulfilling a duty. Like someone pretending to better just to avoid suspicion. It's not your fault. If you didn't see it before, you were raised to trust, not to question, to believe that desire fades with time. But it doesn't fade. And if you can't read a woman's body, you'll become the man who keeps trying to light a fire that someone else already put out. This is where you need to wake up. Because if you don't, you'll keep touching a body that no longer responds to you. That, my dear, is not love. It's slow humiliation. It's presence without soul. It's the beginning of the end, disguised as routine. If the silence of her body didn't wake you up, there's another symptom that's even more visible and more deceptive, because often when a man starts noticing that coldness, that lack of desire, he convinces himself it's just wear and tear. He tells himself it's normal. That Varian goes through this. But no, it's not normal for a woman who supposedalizes you to never seek you out, to not touch you, to not need you. Because when a woman's desire is alive, you can feel it. It's not hidden, it's notice-trained. Chosen every gesture, every look, every way she's with you. And when it's gone, something is being hidden. We've arrived at the second key point of this video. Excessive or sudden hygiene. The ritual of erasing the other men. This is where the female mind operates with surgical precision, not to loathe, but to cover up. Because a woman woes just given herself. To someone else docent, come home smelling like betrayal. She comes home smelling like lavender, like a new perfume, like over-the-top cleanliness. Her body is spotless, but not for you. It's for him. It's to erase the traces. It's to numb the guilt. With soap. Real femalop psychology, not the textbook kind. But kind I've heard for years in privatations, knows that a woman doesn't always lie with words. Sometimes Shelley's with care, with details, with tignacks that seem normal but have a hidden purpose. And one of the most common is excessive or sudden hygienethis, the post-infidelity cleansing ritual. Because she knows her body is the archive of the encounter. Her skin holds scents, textures, marks. That's why she washes, not to feel fresh, buto, feel invisible, to keep you from sensing what can't be seen. Stoicism teaches us to see things as they are, not as we wish they were. And that acquires cold, sharp, detached observation. If you're blinded by the need for everything to be okay, you'll justify the unjustifiable. She showered because she came from work. She put on perfume because she likes. Ta feel pretty. She changed her underwear base. She wanted to feel better. Really? Or maybe she just didn't want you to smell what her desire lived with someone else. A man untrained in reality falls for those traps. But a grounded, awake man starts to suspect, not out of fallacy, out of logic. This isn't a buparanoia. It's about patterns, signs, understanding that a woman who suddenly changes her hygiene habits. How she walks into the house, her obsession with bathroom as soon as she arrives isn't acting out of self-love, schwacting out of guilt. She's trying to clean something you don't know about, but that she needs to forget before looking you in the eye. And the most twisted part is that sometimes after that shower, she smiles at you, talks to you like nothing happened, even to cheese you. But you feel something's off. Something doesn't smell right. And it's not the scent, it's the truth hidden under the foam. Don't ignore that because if you do, you become the man who smells betrayal and calls it fragrance, who sees cleanliness and misses the cover-up. And that man sooner or later ends up holding a woman who's no longer his, even if she just got out of the shower. After seeing how her body shuts down and how she cleans herself towards the other man, there's a third sign that many men overlook because they've been emotionally trained to blame themselves. But this is where you need to open your eyes the most. Because when a woman has been with someone else and doesn't have the courage to admit it, she starts building a narrative where you're the problem. And that shows up with a subtle but constant force. We've reached the third point of this video, and this is where things begin to shift. Unjustified emotional irritation when she needs you to be the villain. Out of nowhere, she starts criticizing Jeving. She talks to UF audience, gets upset over tiny details. If you come home late, she calls you indifferent. If you show up early, she says you're controlling. Nothing's so enough. Nothing satisfies her. And without realizing it, you start walking men. Eggshells in your own home. You avoid talking, avoid suggesting things. You'd know when she explode. But this isn't about work stress or a rough week. It's something deeper. She needs to feel like a victim to justify her escape. So that, when the time comes to leave, she can say, I tried, but he ruined everything. In practical psychology, this is called projection. She's placing in you the conflict she can't face within herself. Because if you're a theod guy, then her infidelity isn't bad. Ritual. It's an emotional reaction. As smart woman, and I'm not talking IQ, I'm an emotional instinct. Will do this almost automatically because her mind needs to make sense of her inner chaos. Unjustified emotional irritation, she needs a story that lets her sleep at night. And in that story, you're the cold one, the absent one. The man wapished her to do what she did, even if you gave her everything. Here's a strategy, not to save the relationship, but to save yourself. Next time she gets irritated over something absurd, don't respond with logic. Don't explain. Don't play her game. Stay silent. But not a weak silence. A strong one, like a warrior who's already understood Theonomy's tactic. Then look at her and calmly say, "You don't need to fight to justify what you've already decided." Walk away, not from the house, but from the scene. Step back with dignity, Bess. The one who argues loses, but one who observes gains power. An emotionally trained man doesn't react. He understands because he knows he's not dealing with a confused woman. But with Thone, who already made her choice and just doesn't want to carry the guilt. NDR steady silence. You're clear as bones. You're emotional. Boundary, those are turn the weight to the one who truly caused it because you are not responsible for her emptiness or for her desire for someone else or for the leashes hiding behind accusations. Before we go on, subscribe to the channel and like this video if you're waking up to this truth. I want you to tell me in the comments which country you're watching from and if you've ever felt that sudden shift in a woman who said she loved you. Drop this one line. I figured out the game because there are still clearer signs to come, and Thellest one is the one that can't be hidden. The one that confirms everything. You've already seen how she tries to turn you into the emotional villain to justify what she won't admit. But there's something even more intimate, more biological, more brutal, because a woman can manipulate you with words, can play with your emotions, can rewrite the story in her mind to see herself as the victim. But her body, when you know how to read, it tells thee, Ruth, a truth that burns, a truth that needs no metaphors or speeches. We've reached the fourth point of this video, changes in her intimate area. Thebedy doesn't lie. This is where many men betray themselves because even when they suspect, even when they feel something's off, they choose not to look, not tosk, not to feel. They go to bed with that woman as if everything's still fesum. As if her body doesn't speak, as if they don't notice that something's shonged. And that's the most common mistake, ignoring the body's signs out of fear of confirming what the soul already knows. But what you refuse to see still destroys you, just slower. A woman who's just been with another man, no matter how much she showers, no matter how much perfume she puts on, no matter how well she pretends, everything's normal, can't control, with a pants in her intimate area. Because a thought part of the body where the most sacred or the dirtiest act takes place, that's where the truth stays. If she's wetter than usual, if her temperature is changed, her muscle tone feels different, if her response to touch ice off, it's not a medical issue. It's the emotional and physical imprint of another man. Not always visible, but definitely perceptible. Especially tough man who once knew her deeply. Thief male mind can justify anything. She'll tell you it's hormones, stress. She's not in the mood. But the truth is a meaning else. Her body was just occupied by someone else. And that even changes in the intimate reef. She denies it. Even if you don't want to accept it, leaves a mark. What happens is most men prefer to convince themselves it's paranoia. That they're overthinking it. Because if they admitted it, they'd have to act, they'd have to make decisions. And that means pain. It means grief. It means losing woman. But reclaiming your dignity. The cost of this self-deception. It's devastating. You end up touching a body that no longer responds like it used to. But you try harder. You give more love, more time, more patience. You think it's just a phase that she'll come back to how she was? She won't because she's already bonded elsewhere. And you in the meantime are unraveling emotionally. You're silencing your intuition, your masculinity, your pride just to keep a place in a bed that's no longer yours. The body doesn't lie. And if you don't listen to it, you're not being stoic. You're being a scared child. A child, wow, would rather not hear the truth than face the loss. But the high-value man, the one who no longer allows himself to be manipulated or lied to, is the one who recognizes the changes, takes a deep breath, and acts. No drama, no yelling, just with that quiet strength that comes from someone who refuses to sleep next door. A lie. Even if that lie has the same face he once loved. There's something more dangerous than a changing body. It's the guilt that hides that change behind exaggerated tenderness. Because if they're betraying you, a woman doesn't always turn cold. Sometimes she becomes a sweet, affectionate, attentive, and you confused. Think she's fallen back in love, that she's reconnecting. It's not love. It's anesthesia. We've reached the 5th point of this video. Sudden or excessive affection, the theater of remorse. This is the mistake most men make. Believing that sudden affection is a sign of hope. They'd an unexpected hug. That trembling I love you means she's come to her senses. That is still choosing you. But that's not the case. That affection doesn't come from desire. It comes from guilt. From the internal need not to feel like a traitor. From wanting to clean her conscience without fully losing you. Because even if you're no longer the man she desires, you're still useful. You restall her support, her witness. The one woe allows her to live a double life without falling apart inside. Female psychology knows this mechanism well. After cheating, many women don't pull away. They move closer, not out of love, but out of fear. Fear of losing their backup. Fear of being alone if the other thing doesn't work out. Fear of facing their own darkness. And you, if you're not clear-headed, fall for it. You kiss her again, look at her with hope, trust her again. But that affection isn't for you. It's for her guilt because she needs to feel like a good person. And giving you affection is the quickest way to silence a guilty conscience. The consequences of falling into this trap are brutal. You end up attached to a woman who no longer desires you, but pretends to need you. You become her emotional therapist, her comfort toy, her safe space while she lights her fire with someone else. And you, thinking love has returned, stop paying attention. Stop asking questions. Jub, I'm an accomplice in your unreplacement. But this can be reversed not with accusations, not with tears, with mindset, with presence. With a clear phrase that breaks the game. I exaggerated or sudden affection didn't need your hugs if they come from guilt. I'd rather have your coldness on your hypocritical affection. That phrase isn't for her. It's for you. Because when you say it, you reclaim your respect. Not hers, your own. And Amen, who respects himself, doesn't let himself be caressed by a woman who just gave herself to someone else. Change begins when you stop believing every touch is love. When you understand that some hugs only serve to keep you from seeing what you've already lost. And that sometimes the greatest act of self-love is walking away from the woman who touches you. With one hand while holding on to the memory of another body with the other. After being touched, out of guilt and not desire, the man who doesn't wake up falls even deeper. Because he doesn't just accept the lukewarm affection. He convinces himself. Enough. He adapts. He resigns. And this is where the betrayal becomes complete. Because she no longer needs Tolifim. He leaves himself. We've reached the 6th point of this video. Emotional absence during intimacy. When our soul is no longer with you, close your eyes for a moment and picture this. You're with her. You're in bed, everything seems normal. Terabata respins. Barely. She moves, she touches you. Maybe she even moans. But you feel it? You feel she's not really there? Her mind is somewhere else. Her soul doesn't vibrate with you. Her energy is gone, and you're confused. Keep going, because you don't want to see it. Because if you accept that truth, it'll break your heart. But the man who ignores that emptiness ends up touching a body that no longer feels him, kissing a mouth that no longer wants him, entering a soul that's already gone in another direction. The female mind, once it hashes on another, becomes skilled at faking presence. She can look you in the eye without seeing anything. She can say, I love you, while picturing someone else. She can lie beside you just to silence her suspicion. But with every movement or desire tells you no. Not anymore. And if you stay trapped in that illusion, if you believe that physical contact is proof of love, you'll end up being the man who is replaced without ever being truly replaced. there's no comfort. Here, no promises, just a raw reality. If during intimacy you feel she's not there, don't make excuses. Don't tell yourself she's tired, that she's stressed, that it's not like itis to be. Because, no, it's not like itis to be. Because she's already been with someone else, and her fire no burns far from you. And if you ignorate that, if you keep touching that body as if it's still yours, you're touching a wound you're refusing to heal. A man horsebacks himself doesn't beg for a connection, he demands it. And if it's not there, he walks away. Because being with a woman who's no longer with you is worse than being alone. It's humiliation. It's emotional exile. It's sharing a bed with a ghost while Samia Niels lives in her mind and you're just background noise for a desire. That no longer belongs to you. So take a good look at yourself, and if you've ever been in that moment, if you've ever made love at a woman who wasn't really there, now you know what happened. She didn't say it, she didn't confess it, but her soul screamed it. And you just didn't. Want to hear? After touching an empty body, after sharing a bed where no soul emotional absence during contact remains, there's only one thing left to observe. The routine. The small habits that once went unnoticed and now become a knownable evidence. Because a woman can fake desire, justify coldness, hide her soul behind a smile, but she can't control time. And that's where the truth reveals itself without needing words. We've reached the 7th point of this video. Coming home late with no coherent story. This is the most obvious sign, the most blatant, but also the most dangerous, because many men choose not to see it. She comes home late, offers VAG excuses, changes her story, says work ran late, a friend called, her phone died. But you, if you're awake, I've seen the earlier signs. No, this isn't just about being late. It's time spent with someone else. It's the clock, showing your place in her life. Second, the one who waits. The one who asks Theon, who still believes he has something when he has nothing. This delay isn't just physical, it's emotional. Because Essa not just late coming home, she's late looking at you, talking to you, answering you with clarity. You're no longer part of her urgency, no longer her priority. You're the safe place she returns to after being satisfied. And if you don't draw the line, if you don't confront the lie, you're giving yourself away as a man. Because a woman who comes home late with no real explanation isn't exploring freedom. She's testing power. She wants to see how far she can go without using a word, how much you can be tamed before you break. How long you'll keep smiling while she gives herself to someone else. There are no valid excuses here if you can't say you didn't know. Yokant blames stress, work, or routine. Because a woman who still chooses UL ways finds her way back. She calms him. She reaches for you. She feels Z. And if that's no longer happening, she's not in the process of leaving. She already left. She's just waiting for a graceful exit or for you to catch her with your own eyes. Meanwhile, you keep punning the door, thinking she's still coming home for you. But she's coming back for convenience, for logistics, to avoid cutting ties completely. 'Cause while you wait, she experiments. This is the moment of truth. 'Cause now you know. Because now there's no turning back. Either you choose to act or you choose to surrender. There's no middle ground, no neutral space, no redemption in passivity. Only two paths. The man woe fades into a shadow, or the man who stands up, looks in the mirror, and decides never again to be the one woe hates. Because dignity isn't begged for, it's claimed with presence, with silence, and with boundaries that aren't as blind. They're enforced. You feel ready, seeing how she delays, how shaded is, how time becomes her alibi. But there's one final sign. The one that isn't masked with affection or just to feed with excuses. The one that doesn't hide between the lines. It's raw, direct, brutal. Because when a woman has been with someone else, her story begins to fall apart. And if you're paying attention, you'll see it collapse in real time. We've reached the 8th and final point of this video, coming home late with no coherent story. She walks through the door hours later. Her attitude doesn't match her words. Sheddocks fast, changes details, avoids your eyes and you. After weeks of sensing something wasn't right, finally see it clearly. But here's the most important part. It's not just about identifying sin. It's about what you're going to, much logic, zero passion to do with it. Because there's no point in uncovering the truth if you're going to keep acting like you don't know it. There's no point in waking up if you choose to keep sleeping for emotional comfort. This is the moment to act, toned the game, to look that woman. In Thailand say without yelling, without begging, without explaining. I don't believe you, and I don't need Tony more. That sentence isn't an accusation. It's a boundary, a conclusion, a turning point. Because when you no longer need explanations, you reclaim power. The power to choose, the power to leave or to stay, but on your own terms. No longer as an emotional beggar, but as a man horsebacks himself. The mindset you need know isn't that of a detective. It's that of an emotional emperor. One who doesn't targ over obvious truths. One who doesn't need physical proof when hell ready. Has 1,000 spiritual signals. Because if you've made it this far, you already know. There's no doubt left, only a decision. And only you can make it. No one's coming to save you. No one's going to say, it's time. That man is yours to declare right here, right now. With the clarity that comes suddenly when you stop denying the obvious. So, stand up. Not to leave, but to reclaim yourself. To return to being Vaman, who's not afraid of losing a woman Beckos. He's no longer willing to lose himself. Because only a man who stands tall in the face of betrayal can look at these life again with respect. And if you don't respect yourself, don't expect her to. 'Cause a woman can play with your desire, your time, your emotions. Butch can't play with a man who has already decided his dignity is not for Solly, not even for love. Because love ain't begged, for it's honored, it's unired, it's let go, without guilt, without fear, without looking back. If you made it to the end of this video, you're not like the rest. You're not looking for excuses or empty motivational quotes. You're looking for clarity, and that already puts you on a different level. Because few men haveth courage to look truth in the eye, especially when that truth burns. Today, you saw the 8 signs that expose a woman who's just given herself to Zamian else. You saw them, you heard them. And now you can't pretend you didn't know. You face a decision. Keep denying the obvious or act with the dignity of a man who refuses to be seconded in anyone's story. We're not here to comfort. We're here to wake you up because real self-love doesn't start when someone values you. It starts when you decide to stop accepting less than what you deserve. And if what you hear design it, if something inside decide, then I want you to comment with just one phrase. I act with wisdom. And tell me what country you're watching from, because geography doesn't matter. The pain of betrayal and the need for respect speak the same language. Ryer. I'm Celia, a woman app psychologist and the voice behind this channel. I'm not here to soften your fool. I'm here to show you how to resog in stronger. House of Wisdom exists for men who are done being manipulated, ignored, or emotionally used and hoen to reclaim what they never should have lost. Their power, their desire, their center. Subscribe now, not just to join a channel, but to become part of a community of men who've already woken up. Share this video with that friend who still refuses to see the truth. Because sometimes one word is enough to open eyes that have been closed for years. And don't go just yet. Watch the 2 videos that will appear on screen. Pick the one that makes you the most uncomfortable. It's because right there, in what hurts the most, is what you must need to understand. This isn't the end of the conversation. This is just the beginning of your transformation.